Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Anna. I'm a clinical psychology doctorate student and I make videos about real life applications to psychology. This video is going to be a little bit more of an opinion piece. It is going to be backed by logic and evidence, which I will link down below in the description box if you're curious about specific links. But this is, at the end of the day, my subjective opinion. You don't have to agree with me. We are talking today about why I personally think it's unacceptable to like inappropriate pics on social media if you are in a relationship. This is more for monoamorous people. If you've seen my polyamory video, you might be a little bit surprised by this one. My polyamory video was from a very objective psychological lens, looking at the science behind polyamory, and I still think that people should be allowed to set whatever boundaries they desire in a relationship. This specific video is looking at my specific boundary, why I think something is unacceptable, and yes, it is also backed by evidence, but just wanted to clarify that this video might not be applicable to people who are open to, sexual and romantic relationships outside their committal partner. So why do I think that liking inappropriate pics on social media is unacceptable when you're in a relationship? First of all, you have to understand when we like a photo on social media, it's usually because we have warm feelings towards that person or something that they posted. We always like our friends' pictures because we like them, we care about them, we feel warm feelings towards them. So if you are constantly liking someone else's photos and you're not really friends, and you're also attracted to them, that could be emotional cheating. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's wrong to like, someone's entire Instagram feed if, it's all trees and horses and nature. No, but if there is a sexual component, that is a dangerous combination. Another really big reason why I think it's unacceptable is the psychological distress that it causes women. We're talking about worthlessness, feeling like you're not worthy or that you'll never be enough for your partner, powerlessness because it is out of your power to, control how your partner behaves or to control the images that are out there for the taking, feeling replaceable because there is no shortage of hot women to replace you. There is no shortage of sexualized images of women on the internet. And that can be a really scary thing for women to think about. Another issue is that sometimes women communicate that they're not okay with this. They communicate this as a boundary to their partner, and their partner does not see it necessary to respect that boundary. And that is a major issue because society tells us you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter if your behavior hurts someone else. And that's a very individualistic mindset. It's something that I really struggle with because our actions inevitably affect the people around us. And although we do see the world from an egocentric lens, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't care about the impact we have on other people. Just like someone would tell you, I'm not comfortable with you doing X, Y, and Z. If X, Y, and Z means liking pictures of other girls on Instagram, that is a valid boundary whether or not you like it. And there's the added component of it being public for everyone to see, which is a public type of humiliation for women with these boyfriends. I know whenever I see someone who's taken in a relationship liking bikini photos or liking these photos of celebrities or Instagram baddies, I feel really bad for the girlfriend. I really genuinely feel pity for her. I really feel disrespect towards the man who would do that publicly and who has no shame about putting it out there that, yeah, I really like what I'm seeing. Because would you think that it's okay to leer at half-naked women in real life and to give them the equivalent of a like? What would the equivalent of a like be? I think it would maybe be, someone's walking by, you like what you see, and you say, hey, you're hot. Would you think that's acceptable to do in front of your girlfriend and all your acquaintances and all her acquaintances? I'm willing to say not. Plus, it's not like an attractive woman happens to walk by you. You are actively going out of your way to surround yourself with these types of images. Because if you are, double tapping them, they show up on your Discover page. If you are following more and more and more of these, you are actively surrounding yourself with these images that put you in a state of temptation. Also, it's hugely problematic not just for the girlfriend, but for women in general, because you are contributing to this culture of hypersexualization of women and online commodification of our bodies. Now with the rise of new apps that do essentially camgirl things, there's this sense that women's bodies are up for sale, that women's bodies are a gift or, a transaction that is provided to men, and that we are nothing more than our bodies. Because let's be real, when people are looking at these images, they're not thinking, wow, she must be a really nice girl. You're really only focusing on her appearance. And while, sure, that's less emotional cheating, it's still really bad for women as a whole. And a lot of these women, they're contributing to this culture of really high, unrealistic expectations for women's appearance. Like, the reason for EDs, body plastic surgery, insecurities, low self-esteem, and by saying I'm okay with this and actually I encourage it, I think that's really problematic. And moreover, there is this risk of getting addicted to these types of images. I knew someone who, followed, I want to say 4,000 of these accounts. It could be upwards of that at this point. And it was to the point where he could no longer save any photos. He couldn't take any photos with his girlfriend because his phone was just filled with these screenshots to the brim. And at that point, I do think it reaches the level of addiction. And, where do you draw the line? It can be really easy to get drawn into this and to get more and more and more to the point where it interferes with your actual life. You are, getting aroused through this virtual media that doesn't exist. These women, they don't care about you. And yet at the same time, you're sacrificing the women in your actual life over it. So, let me just debunk a couple of the counter arguments really quickly. There's the argument, what about women? Don't women do this too? Or is it acceptable for women to do this? And it's not normalized in the same way. And men aren't hypersexualized in the same way that women are in the media. But if a woman in a relationship does this, I think it's just as unacceptable as a man who does it. If the man says, I'm not comfortable with this, then a woman has to respect that boundary as well. Yeah, absolutely. I just don't think that this is really as commonplace as it is for men to do. There's also the argument, men are just more visual creatures, which is wrong. It's wrong. It's been debunked. It is not true, okay? Look in the description box if you don't believe me. There's also the argument men don't think about it that deeply. And my response to that is, okay, well, you should. If a woman tells you that your behavior is hurting her, especially a woman who you supposedly love and care about and want the best for, why would you not respect her boundaries? Is it because society has told you that you don't need to? Another argument is it's okay to fantasize about other people. I'm not sure that it is. For some people it might not be a boundary, especially if they tend to lean a little bit more towards the polyamory side, but I would say for a good chunk of people, it is extremely hurtful behavior and it's not considered acceptable. There's also the counter argument. If a woman cares, it's because her man isn't making her feel secure and desired in her relationship. And this one just doesn't make sense to me, because not respecting a woman's boundary is an example of making her feel insecure. It's an example of how you are not treating her well in the relationship. not an irrelevant tangent like, oh yeah, he doesn't treat her well and also he does this thing that she's not okay with. No, this is part of the reason why she's not being treated well. And some women actually do otherwise feel supported by their partner, but they're just not okay with this particular behavior. Then it's not about feeling insecure or not feeling taken care of in the relationship. It really is that this behavior is just something that's not acceptable to them. Another counter argument that's always given to women in pretty much any conversation is, you're coming from an emotion-driven place. Okay, let me tell you something. All of psychology is about emotion. You cannot talk about the effects of an experience without discussing the emotional consequences it has on people. You just can't. Emotion is a huge portion of people's psychology. So take the emotion out of the construct, doesn't make sense. So those are my 2 cents on why I think this particular behavior is unacceptable, but I really just want to know what you guys think because, like I said, this is just one perspective. You do not have to agree with me, Like I said, this is my boundary. These were my reasons for having this boundary, but no one says that you have to live your life according to my values. If you and your partner are perfectly fine setting it up in a different way, kudos to you. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.